The world is changing fast. Digitalization, decarbonization, demographic change. We are changing ourselves too, and for that we are using all our senses. For example, in regards to the digitalization, 80% of all wide data was generated since 2019. We start speaking about zettabytes. We are measuring this data volume in zettabytes. I remember when I was as a student at the university in Petroșani, Valea Jiului, and I discovered the world of 0 and 1 bits. I can recall the moment when I managed to hold in my hand my first hard disk for 20 megabytes. I was very excited. It was also very expensive. Nowadays, my nephew is sending me a 20 megabytes voice message when he remembers about his uncle. I have to say, my senses are sometimes overstressed. This time of changes was always here. The change as such is part of our life. The speed we have to face nowadays can overwhelming us. That's why I think that for some of us, these three topics, digitalization, decarbonization, demographic change, may be perceived as mega challenges because we are pushed forward by the society, by the geopolitical climate, by the demands and needs of our clients and customers, and we realize that we alone will hardly manage all of them. For some of us, these three topics may be perceived as mega trends. Because, I don't know, we are crazy enough to think that we can change the world because we do not accept the status quo, because we see opportunities where others are staring to a dark wall. What these three topics, no matter how we perceive them, they have in common is that they are interconnected, they are interlinked. However, or wherever you start to approach one of it, you'll realize that you'll have impact or you'll get interference from the other two. WIKA is a company, a family-owned company since more than 77 years on the market. It has its traditional markets like the power generation. Myself and more than 11,000 other colleagues worldwide, we are using all of our senses to create values for our customers. And you look here to the WIKA strategy for 2030. It is the focus on these three mega trends. My colleague, Martin Kovarik, which I'll invite on the scene, it will take you on a journey to translate, to present how WIKA is looking when it's coming to a focus market of us, the market for TSO and DSO. And we also prepared a digital example, a concrete example. I want to point it out again, an example which is not in a pilot phase, is not on the theory. We have such solution already installed base in several countries in Europe. Martin?
So, thank you, Sorin. Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to be on such an amazing event here in Romania. And since I heard all the discussions that we had before, I'm also coming from Eastern Europe country, so I can understand that there are certain challenges always tied to the individual countries that we have in the European Union. But I am convinced that all together as a Europe, we will overcome these challenges and really make this energy transition happen. I want to talk a little bit about our strategic landscape when we talk about the transmission and distribution industry. We have all these mega trends like digitalization, decarbonization, decentralization. The question is, how do we connect this with the digital journey that we have ahead of us? Some companies or some areas have already started and they are very far ahead in terms of the digitalization of the entire assets. And everyone is striving to really bring the most out of the digital potential that we have on the market. So the goal is to really create digital twins that can view all the data that we had previously offline, to bring all the data from the sensing elements, from the reports that maybe the employees are creating in the company, into one unified system. By creating such an environment with the industrial Internet of Things, as we call it in WIKA, so IIoT, it is already helping to the transmission and distribution energy companies to actually create things like predictive maintenance. So they are not reacting to what is happening. They know upfront where they will need their resources. So this is immediately bringing them a benefit in cost savings when it comes to the maintenance. When we have such a big scale of measuring points in the fields, imagine now when you gather all the data points into one and you run an analytics, you're able to tell what kind of equipment, what kind of assets are in good health, which kind of assets need some repairs. So in WIKA, we are fully committed to really pursue all these mega trends. And today I would like to speak a little bit about the topic of sulfur fluoride gases, SF6, that are currently used in most of the high voltage assets that are in the field. And there is, of course, an initiative to change this to a new alternative gases. When we look on the infrastructure for the IoT world, so you can see basically 3 layers of the devices, connectivity, platform, and application. So the devices, that is quite self-explanable. These are the nodes, the measuring instruments taking all the huge data from your transmission or distribution network. And when we look on the connectivity, so here I want to mention few topics that are important. So WIKA is a member of the LoRaWAN committee and also a founding member of the IIoT Alliance. In the recent years, we have also done a strategic investment into a network management company called Loriot. So what is special about Loriot and why we decided in such a way is that Loriot is a company who can really create an infrastructure on a national level of connectability, meaning we talk about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of endpoints that we can connect via this infrastructure. The best thing about IoT in general, when we look at it, you can see there is a customer application and solution on the side, meaning that the system is not meant to replace what exists. It is something to enhance the essential systems that you already have in your companies. So now we will speak a little bit about the fluoride gases and the initiative to actually replace them with the alternative gases. So as you can see, there is a timeline starting 2026, ending in 2032 with the highest voltage. It's not that important, you know, these individual milestones. The important message really from this slide is to realize this change is happening right now. We see the big manufacturers already producing medium or high voltage switchgear with the alternative gases, and that is very good. And the reason is the SF6 gas currently used in these assets for high voltage. It is a perfect gas in terms of the electrical stability, insulating properties. The only tiny problem is the global warming potential at this gas is extremely high. We will see in a slide to come how high that is. And what I wanted to say, really, it is important that we change these topics, but we must not forget, and it was already said in the previous discussions, the assets that the transmission and distribution companies have installed in last years, or maybe even in this year, they have to run and last for the foreseeable future. So we talk 30, 40 years. So on one hand, we are getting rid of such a fluoride gases in the transmission and distribution network, but we must not forget to take care about these assets, not to have too much pollution coming out of them in the future, and to focus on how to monitor and how to keep healthy the assets with the new alternative gases. So, sometimes we talk about high global warming potential. So I just want you to think about a little bit how much it can have an effect to have a traditional or conventional way of measurement and the new way of measurement with the online monitoring, which can bring much better accuracy and faster responses to such leakages. So here we have a standard 16 kilogram gas compartment, and the difference in the accuracy is only 4.5%. So you would say, okay, that is not too much. But in reality, before you react with the conventional way of measurement, the global warming potential is equal to a CO2 released by a car if you drive 136,000 kilometers, which is, by the way, an average of 12 years driving in Europe for one person. So you can imagine in just 1 day or 2 days from one such a compartment, you can release an adequate amount of CO2 in such a big volume. So these are the things we have to watch out also in the future, because the SF6 gas, it will be replaced, but it will stay with us for a long time. Here you can see basically the complete infrastructure that we have. It can be used for SF6 gases. It can be used for hydrogen production. It can be used for the compartments with different gases for insulation, or the new ones that are coming to the market that are used together with the renewable energy sources. And the only thing I want to say here is this is not a draft, what we have, but actually exactly this system is helping at the moment to achieve better results in various TSOs, transmission system operators, and distribution system operators within Europe. So my wish for the future would be that also here in Romania, we as WIKA will become known as a company which is smart in sensing, and that is a reliable partner for people, and that we can help them to overcome the challenges with digitalization. Thank you very much. I will ask Sorin to provide his final words.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so my mother had some issues with me when I was a child. Main problem was that I was insisting whenever I had a chance to have the last word. And for that, I had to spend a few times some tears. Now I grow up, but I still enjoy it. Thank you, Martin, for this opportunity. So one takeaway or two is that the SF6 gas has a potential warming 25,000 times than the CO2, which all of us knows. It's a gas which is part of our daily life, even we don't know, we don't care, we are not aware about it. And it is, from our point of view, important to have a look how you can control it in the future to reduce these emissions. And yeah, for example, how to do it is to use the WIKA online monitoring solution. Why to do it? It's simple, because at WIKA, we want together with you to look, to listen, to feel, and to understand the next steps we want to do it together. And by acting like this, I'm sure together we can contribute to a better world. Thank you very much. Vă mulțumesc foarte mult.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sorin, Martin, for a great introduction of WIKA to the Energynomics community and by this to the Romanian energy market at large. Thank you also for a very good introduction to the next panel. I wasn't quite aware of that, but I would just say another word, and I'll switch to Romanian now. Cred că a doua oară când aud vorbindu-și despre acest gaz în România, în evenimentele din Energynomics, probabil că în altele deloc. Cred că domnul Tache a mai vorbit la un moment dat la evenimentele noastre despre nevoia de a aborda această chestiune și mă bucur că avem încă o dată ocazia să auzim despre ea.